Welcome to this Football Manager 2019 video where I'm going to show you some of the Wonderkids on the game. Now I'm using a list compiled by FM Scout. I'm sure most of you have heard of this great website. It's quite a long list, a comprehensive list. It's not just Wonderkids, there's a lot of good quality youngsters as well that don't necessarily turn into world-class players, but turn into good players. You can see they've put some ratings together, so 81 plus is a world-class player, 78 to 80 is a great player for the Premier League, for example, and then also the potential ability of the Wonderkids on the game. If you're someone that likes to find these players yourself, stop watching. This video isn't for you. This video is for people that need a little bit of help or like to know the Wonderkids on Football Manager 2019, and you might want to see the profiles. You might be someone that doesn't even play the game but wants to see what their rating is like on Football Manager. So I'm going to go down this list, look at some of the best players, and then we'll take a look at them on FM19 to see what they're all about. Before I get on with this video though, if you do find this video useful and interesting, please leave a like, and also please subscribe to the channel for more Football Manager 2019 content. That would be marvellous. Anyway, let's start with goalkeepers. The top rated Wonderkid is apparently Donnarumma, the Italian 19-year-old. You can see a list of the best goalkeepers here, but let's have a look at him on Football Manager 2019. Here he is then, number 99 for AC Milan. Standout attributes, I suppose, things like aerial reach, lots of good physical attributes as well, agility, balance, jumping reach of 18, 17 reflexes. Remember, he's only 19 years old. He's a sensational talent who's going to turn into an incredible goalkeeper on the game and hopefully in real life as well. The second best Wonderkid goalkeeper is apparently this chap, Albin Lafont, a Frenchman, who's also only 19 years old. Looks like a good all-round goalkeeper, 16 on reflexes, 17 jumping reach. I think he's going to turn into a world-class goalkeeper on the game as well, more often than not. And he plays for Fiorentina, so if you're managing a really big team, you should be able to get him. Probably very expensive though. Let's move on to the centre-backs, and you can see a list of some of the top centre-backs here. We've got the top one, which is Matthijs de Ligt for Ajax. You've got Benkovic, the Leicester centre-back. Upamecano, something like that. Christopher Ajer, the Celtic centre-back or central midfielder. He can play in multiple positions really. So there's some great players there. Let's look at the top ones then. Here he is then, the 18-year-old Dutchman, 7 caps for his country already at the start of this save. And wow, he's good. He's a good all-round centre-back, isn't he? There's nothing massively stand out. He's got 16 on determination, but look, 15 heading, 15 passing. He's a ball-playing defender as well, 14 tackling, good all-round physicals, nothing really high, but you can grow him. He becomes the best defender on the game, apparently. Benkovic is next. He's on loan at Celtic from Leicester City. Look at him, he's a beast. 18 on heading, 18 on jumping reach. He's going to be dominant at the back, isn't he? And lastly, we'll look at Upamecano, the French centre-back who plays for Leipzig. He looks very good physically. 16 strength, 16 natural fitness, 18 pace for a centre-back. That is insane. I will put a link to this list in the description below, so just click on that and you can read this full list for yourself. But moving on to left backs, we'll look at the top two guys in a second. But you know, there's a big list of players here, some of which won't necessarily develop into being the best players, but these top ones should turn into pretty good left backs, maybe even world-class left backs. So the best left back on that list is Josh Tiemann, a Stoke City English player who looks good for his age, doesn't look spectacular, but his mental attributes are pretty good. Determination 17, 15 bravery, physically is all right, apart from things like strength. You definitely need to work on that. I'm surprised that he's the best sort of Wonderkid left back, according to FM Scout, but you know, he can certainly grow into being a very good player from those attributes, that's for sure. Next up is a German left back, Gianluca Itter, who, similar actually, you know, he's not very strong, but he's got decent pace, all right crossing, good all-round attributes, and can play anywhere up the left-hand side. So the best right back, Wonderkid-wise, on the game is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'll just scroll down so you can have a look at some of the names, but we'll look at the top two players for this position. This is Trent Alexander-Arnold, then only 19 years old. He's obviously been capped by England. Look at his attribute. The only thing he doesn't have above 10, or at least 10, is long throws, which ideally he would want to have some sort of longer throws because he's a fullback. But yeah, that's the only attribute he has below 10, which is insane. Those mentals What a player this guy is. And of course, he's so versatile, can play anywhere. You could train him up to play in a lot of different positions. Looking at these attributes, he could turn into a good midfielder, a good winger. But I think probably playing him as a wing back would be best. 17 on crossing. He's good pace and acceleration as well. Wow, he looks special. And the second best one is Diogo Dalot, the Man United player that they signed recently. 19 years old as well. Good all-round player as well. Not many attributes under 10 actually, only 3 there. So physically decent, mentally pretty good. Technically could certainly be improved in certain areas. You'd want to improve his crossing as a right back, I suppose, and possibly tackling and that sort of thing. But very good player for his age. Let's move down to defensive midfielders then. So here's the list for you, and the top player, I must say, could become a bit of a legend on the game because I think he's available pretty cheaply. Sandro Tonali, who plays for Brescia in Italy, I think he can be picked up for a very reasonable price. So yeah, let's have a look at him, and we'll look at the top 2 once again for this position. Here he is then, only 18 years old, looks very good, 15 passing, mentally strong, which is always useful for a defensive midfielder. There's a few weak attributes here technically, but you know, defensive midfielders, they need to be strong mentally and strong physically. If they have some good technical attributes as well, then it's a bonus. 15 passing, you can improve his tackling. He could be an all-round very good defensive midfielder. Here we have Amadou Diawara then, the second best defensive midfielder, plays for Napoli. He also looks good all-round defensive midfielder because he's got very good passing, very good tackling, physically very strong. He seems a bit more developed than Tonali, but the other guy apparently has the best potential. Yeah, this guy is a bit of a beast as well, but harder to sign because he plays for Napoli, of course. This is the list of regular central midfielders then, so we'll have a look at the top 2 once again. Sergio Gomez up first, only 17 years old, Spanish player playing for Dortmund. He looks good technically. First touch 16, 17 technique, 16 flair, 16 vision. He's going to be unlocking defences. Physically not the greatest, but he doesn't need to be the quickest player in the world when you play central midfield. Lucas Paqueta, Brazilian 20-year-old, looks really good. I know he's 20, so he's going to look better than the previous player, but wow. And he's playing in Brazil as well, so you might be able to pick him up. I don't know about work permits and that sort of thing, depending on what country you're playing in. But wow, 16 technique, 16 first touch, good vision and passing, physically good as well. He looks really good. Moving on to the more attacking players, these are the ones that people are really excited about, I'm sure. The left wingers, we'll look at those top 3, Rodrigo, Vinicius and Jadon Sancho. But there's some other names in here. Paulinho's a good player for Leverkusen. Justin Kluivert's on the list. So here's Rodrigo, Brazilian 17-year-old, and he is set for big things, I must say. He's physically really good for his age. Dribbling 15, 14 finishing. He could be played as a striker as well. There are definitely a lot of things that need to be improved, especially if he's playing as a winger. He needs to improve his crossing. But he is joining Real Madrid, so you're not going to be able to get hold of him, I'm afraid. Vinicius Jr., Real Madrid player, 17-year-old Brazilian, 16 dribbling. He's pacey, he's skillful. He's going to be a cracking player to watch, I'm sure, in real life as he develops. But those 2 players, you're not going to be able to sign them. But this video is really about showing you the best Wonderkids. I want to show you what they're like on the game. Some of you will manage Real Madrid, I'm sure. So you want to have a look to see what these players are like. Especially those of you that haven't bought the game yet anyway. And this one, Jadon Sancho, everyone's been talking about him, of course, this season. Assists galore, acceleration to burn. Not amazing pace, though, interestingly, but really good acceleration. Dribbling 16, technically very good with 16 technique, 16 flair. Going to be an exceptional winger on the game. Huh? Who's this guy? We've got to have a look at Mbappe, don't we? What? He's already world class. He's already world class. And he's regarded as a right winger, but he can play up front, of course, as well. You can develop him to being a really good striker. He's only got 14 on finishing, but look at this. 19 acceleration, 20 pace, 17 dribbling as well. Combined with that is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be impossible to stop. And he's already on 325k a week, by the way. He's only 19. That's just crazy. Let's have a look at the other guy then in the top 2 on this list. It's Federico Chiesa. 5 caps for Italy already. He looks good, playing for Fiorentina. So if you're a really top team, you might be able to pick him up, but he's going to cost a hell of a lot of money. Loads of other exceptional players here as well, of course, but let's scroll down to the central attacking midfielders. We'll look at those top three, consisting of João Felix, Portuguese player, Havertz, a German, and Phil Foden. But likewise, there's some cracking players on this list. Here's the top one then, 18-year-old Portuguese central attacking midfielder, 15 passing, 15 vision, 16 technique, has the potential to turn into a world-class player apparently, and he's only worth 1.2 million, but he is in the Benfica team, in the B team, but I think it probably costs quite a lot of money if you do want to get hold of him. But he doesn't look amazing. He does look, I suppose he's very good for an 18-year-old though, isn't he? Havertz then, playing for Bayer Leverkusen. Now I think he looks slightly better in my eyes. He's got 17 on vision, 16 technique, good physicals. I suppose he's a year older though, so he's slightly further along the development line. And Phil Foden, everyone's talking about him in England. Everyone thinks he's going to be the next big central attacking midfielder for the English national side. Some very good attributes, and then there's a few weaker ones, but they don't necessarily matter so much for his position. But 15 passing, 16 vision, 15 technique, decent pace, not particularly strong, but good dribbling. Needs to improve his finishing probably if he wants to be a real top talent in the attacking midfield position. But he looks very good as well. Let's move down to the strikers then. You'll have heard of Pietro Pellegrini. If you played FM18, he was a very good player. And he's, of course, just signed for Monaco, so he's going to be really hard to sign on FM19. But there's probably some other gems in here that you'll be able to sign. So check out the list in the description below and look at them on Football Manager if you have the game. If you don't, then I could, I suppose, do some sort of video or live stream type thing where I just look at a load of players that people want to look at. Because I know there's a lot of people that don't get the game early or never get the game, and you might want to have a look at some of the players. So I suppose I could do that. Now this chap at the top though is only 15, so he might be really cheap, but he does play for Porto, so that could be a problem. And he is only 15 as well, but interesting that he's top of the list. Fabio Silva, playing for the Porto B team at the age of 15. Wow. He doesn't have any top attributes yet, but that's because of his age. Physically, 12 on pace and acceleration, 12 on finishing, dribbling, first touch, 13 composure, which is impressive for his age, 12 off the ball. You can tell he's going to turn into a top player on this game. And here's Pietro Pellegrini, the Italian striker, plays for Monaco now. Physically well-rounded, mentally decent as well, 14 on finishing. You can tell that he's going to turn into a quality finisher, quality striker. And lastly, we'll look at this 18-year-old French striker, Gouiri, who I suppose he's a couple years further into his development compared to the previous players we looked at, but he does look good. Mentally, physically, good, well-rounded stats, attributes, technically, finishing of 14, 13 dribbling and first touch. The strikers don't seem to be quite as well developed. I think it's harder for strikers to... It's similar to goalkeepers actually. Strikers and goalkeepers, these days, they don't necessarily break into the first teams at the age of 17, 18, whereas attacking midfielders do. That seems to be the case these days, doesn't it? But I hope you've found this video interesting looking at these Wonderkids. Happy to do another video where I look at some requested players. But until next time, enjoy Football Manager 2019. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you very soon.